coupe copyright or coupe is a closed two-door car body style with a permanently attached fixed roof, that is shorter than a sedan of the same model, and it often has seating for two persons or with a tight-spaced rear seat. The precise definition of the term varies between manufacturers and over time. The term was first applied to 19th-century carriages, where the rear-facing seats had been eliminated, or cut out. Pronunciation. In most English-speaking countries, the French spelling coupe copyright and anglicized pronunciation coupe are used. The stress may be on either the first or second syllable. Stressing the first syllable is the more anglicized variant. Most speakers of North American English spell the word without the acute accent and pronounce it as one syllable, coop. This was a gradual change occurring prior to World War II. A North American example of usage is the hot rod is termed used coupe, used to refer to a 1932 Ford. This pronunciation is used in the Beach Boys' 1963 hit song, Little Deuce Coupe. Chevrolet, in an effort to lend a touch of class to its two-door hardtops during the 1950s, 1960s, and early 1970s, marketed them with the Sport Coupe copyright moniker, using the original French pronunciation. History. The term dates to the French language verb couper, translating as cut, referring to the fact that the body is separated by a cut-off wheel, or cut in half. The coupe copyright was developed from the berline by removing the rear-facing front passenger seats and shortening the passenger enclosure by a corresponding amount. The resulting shortened berline was called Halberline in Germany and Berlingot or berline coupe copyright in France. The term berline coupe copyright was later shortened to coupe copyright. Normally, a coupe copyright had a fixed glass window in the front of the passenger compartment. The coupe copyright was considered to be an ideal vehicle for women to use to go shopping or to make social visits. The earliest coupe copyright automobiles had the same form as the coupe copyright carriage, with the driver in the open at the front and an enclosure behind him for two passengers on one bench seat. By the 1910s the term had evolved to denote an owner-driven car with a driver and one or two passengers in an enclosure with a single bench seat. The coupe copyright de ville, or coupe copyright chauffeur, was an exception, retaining the open driver's section at front. During the 20th century, the term coupe copyright was applied to various close-coupled automobiles. In 1916, the Society of Automobile Engineers suggested nomenclature for car bodies that included the following: couplet, a small car seating two or three with a folding top and full-height doors with fully retractable windows. Coupe copyright, an enclosed car operated from the inside with seats for two or three and sometimes a backward-facing fourth seat. Convertible coupe copyright, a roadster with a removable coupe copyright roof. Through the 1950s opening roof convertible automobiles were sometimes called drop-head coupe copyright S, but since the 1960s the term coupe copyright has generally been applied exclusively to fixed-head models. Coupe copyright S generally have two doors, although automobile makers have offered four-door coupe copyright S and three- and five-door hatchback coupe copyright S. Modern coupe copyright S often have the styling feature of frameless doors, with the window glass sealing directly against a weather strip on the main body. Definitions and descriptions. The International Standard ISO 3833-1977 defines a coupe copyright as having a closed body, usually with limited rear volume, a fixed roof of which a portion may be openable, at least two seats in at least one row, two side doors and possibly a rear opening, and at least two side windows. For use in styling, the term coupe refers to a close-coupled automobile in that the couple distance is the dimension between the driver's hip joint when seated and the rear axle. Therefore, a close-coupled car is one where the front seats are relatively close to the rear wheels, which naturally leaves little or no space for rear seat passengers. Alternatively, a coupe copyright is often distinguished from a two-door sedan by the lack of a B-pillar to support the roof. Sedans have an A-pillar forward at the windscreen, a B-pillar aft of the door, and a C-pillar defining the aftermost roof support at the rear window. Thus with all side windows down, a coupe copyright would appear windowless from the A to the C pillars. These fixed roof models are described as a hardtop or pillarless coupe copyright. Though, To confuse things even further, there are many hardtop pillarless 2- and 4-door sedans. Targa top, or just T-top models are a variation on the convertible design, where the roof center section can be removed, in one or two sections, leaving the rest of the roof in place. Yet another variation on the convertible or drop-head coupe copyright is the fully retractable hardtop. In this form the car has all the advantages of fixed-head vehicle but, at the touch of a button, the entire roof lifts off, folds and stows away in the trunk. Though retractables were tried many years ago by Peugeot, in Europe and Ford, in the US, with the Fairlane Skyliner, it is only in the 21st century that there has been an explosion in the popularity of this body style. Manufacturers have used the term coupe copyright in several varieties, including Club Coupe copyright, a coupe copyright with a larger rear seat, which would today be called a 2-door sedan. Business coupe copyright, a coupe copyright with no rear seat or a removable rear seat intended for traveling salespeople and other vendors who would be carrying their wares with them. Opel copyright Ra coupe copyright, a coupe copyright DeVille with a high-roofed passenger compartment such that the owners could be driven to the opera without the need to remove their large hats. These often had occasional seats that folded for use by children or extra passengers, and allowed easy passage to the rear seats. These cars most closely approximated a motorized version of the original horse-drawn coupe copyright. Often, they would have solid rear quarter panels, with small, circular windows, to enable the occupants to see out without being seen. These opera windows were revived on many U.S. automobiles during the 1970s and early 1980s. Sports coupe copyright or berlinetta, a body with a sloping roof, sometimes sloping downward gradually in the rear in the manner known as fastback. 4-door coupe copyright, a luxury sedan with classic coupe copyright-like proportions. The low roof design reduces back seat passenger access and headroom. The designation was first applied to a low-roof model of the Rover P5 from 1962 until 1973, but was revived by the 1985 Toyota Carina ED, the 1992 Infiniti J30 and finally by the first model 2005 Mercedes-Benz CLS, which stands in Mercedes' hierarchy between the E and S class, and has appearance of a classic coupe and sedan. The term was also used partly from marketing reasons. German press accepted concept of 4-door coupe and adopted it to similar models from other manufacturers such as 2009 Jaguar XJ. Also, other manufacturers accepted it, producing recent competing models like Volkswagen Passat CC, BMW F06 and even 5-door coupe, Audi A7. The organization ADAC on its website also adopted this concepts. In Germany the definition of the coupe was finally divided into the classic coupe and 4-door coupe. This definition and concept of 4-door coupe are evident in Germany, but they are not yet widely known in the rest of the world. Quad coupe copyright. Quad coupe copyright is a marketing name for cars with one or two small rear doors with no B-pillar. Combi coupe copyright. Combi coupe copyright is a marketing term used by Saab for a car body similar to the liftback. With the growing popularity of the pillarless hardtop during the 1950s, some automakers used the term coupe copyright to refer to hardtop models and reserved the term sedan for their models with a B-pillar. This definition was by no means universal, and has largely fallen out of use with near demise of the hardtop. Similarly, a Rover P5 saloon model came in a body style with a lower roof that was called a coupe copyright. Technically, it was cut, as the original definition required, but it was not a shorter car body. Current usage. Today coupe copyright has become more of a marketing term for automotive manufacturers, than a fact of the vehicle's design and technical makeup. The term has been ascribed to vehicles with 2, 3, or 4 doors, for their perceived luxury or sporting appeal. This is because coupe copyrights in general are seen as more streamlined and sportier overall lines than those of comparable 4-door sedans. Hence a coupe copyright would be marketed as a sportier vehicle than a 2-door sedan. While previous coupe copyrights were simply line extenders 2-door variants of family sedans, some coupe copyrights have different sheet metal and styling than their 4-door counterparts. The AMC Matador Coupe had a unique design and styling, sharing almost nothing with the four-door versions. Similarly, the Chrysler Sebring and Dodge Stratus coupes and sedans had little in common except their names, with the coupes engineered by Mitsubishi and built in Illinois, while the sedans were developed by Chrysler and built in Michigan. Even two-door cars with a back seat are now being referred to as sedans, in which the terms coupe and sedan are used interchangeably. Two-door sedans with front bench seating have phased out, with the 1995-99 Chevrolet Monte Carlo being the last model to offer it. However, two-door cars in general have fallen in popularity, with the popular exception of convertibles and two-seat roadsters. Sedans, pickup trucks and SUV station wagons have had fewer two-door models in recent years, since the cost of four-door cars has gone down along with engineering to ease access to the back seat area. Coupe copyright S after World War II. See also, cabriolet, car classification, types of carriages. References. External links, media related to coupes at Wikimedia Commons, Coupe copyright spelling by Cadillac 1, Coupe copyright spelling by Cadillac 2.